A warm welcome to Business Daily right here on Trust Television. I am Yusuf Akogu. Let's take our business top stories. Glad to have you back. Now we go to the stock market to give you highlights of how the trading went down yesterday on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Of course, the tribunal ruling does not deter the market from trading yesterday, and of course it closed negative, maybe reaction from investors to the ruling yesterday. Maybe, well, we want to say they are not so impressed, but again, it's a marginal decrease, 0.07%. It came down yesterday after the tribunal ruling that indeed restore or affirm President Bola Tinubu as the duly elected President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Of course, the volume of trade came down 378.654 million, value at 5.482 billion naira, and of course, in the deals of 7,671. Of course, not also forgetting that Owando is also pulling weight in the market. We look at the top gainers as well. Of course, the Guineans gaining 10% there to close at 33 kobo per share. 47 naira gains recorded by Better Glass. Better Glass share closed at 47 naira 15 kobo, and it gained 9.91% on the day. Of course, Cavitin Helicopter in the aviation sector gained 9.84% to close at 1 naira 34 kobo. Let's look at the loser, the losing side of the market. Vitafoam was there yesterday. They lost 10%, a huge number there, to close at 22 naira and 50 kobo per share. So Veritas Capital also losing 7.69% as well to close there at 24 kobo per share. So if you go down, Linkage Assurance was also on the losing table yesterday, 5.56% downward it traded yesterday. The share price ended 85 kobo per share on the day. We look at the performance in terms of sector. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, Owando is really having a roller coaster now on the market. 83.5 million volume of shares were actually traded yesterday. Not forgetting that Owando is in line to actually take over Ajib Oil. That deal has been struck, but there are some minor things that are there that need to be sorted out. Of course, the minister also needs to actually rectify that deal before it can actually go on. And of course, that has actually drawn investors' attention to Owando playing in the oil and gas sector of the market. The United Bank for Africa, UBA, did 35.6 million volume of shares yesterday as well, while Transcorp Nigeria, another strong player in the market, playing in various key sectors in the market there, 26.7 million volume of shares is traded on the day. We look at how the rest of Africa are doing, not so great. In Johannesburg there in South Africa, the market closed negative there, a huge number there, 1.02%. The gain of the previous day were actually eroded from yesterday's trading session. We look at the GSE in Ghana. Ghana has remained on the upward trajectory for 2 to 3 days now of the trading session. 0.35% it gained to close upward there on Wednesday. NSE in Kenya, Nairobi Stock Exchange, closed downward 0.03%. It ended on the day to close there. The offshore index 97.98 basis points on the day. Of course, these are the highlight of how the stock trading went on the floor of the market on Wednesday across African continent. We'll go on a very quick break. When we return back, we'll go into our discussion. Of course, quite a few things we will need to highlight with regards to the president's 100 days in office. Don't go away. Glad to have you back. It's still Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Now we're going into our discussion. We're looking at the Nigeria's economy and, of course, the President Bola Tinubu 100 days in office. How has the economy fared so far? Is it so far so good? Well, I want to get the reaction from an economist, Dr. Steve Nwachukwu, who joins me virtually from Abuja here. Hello, Mr. Steve. Good morning. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. I understand you are still on the road, but quickly, before we go into the President 100 days performance in office, let me quickly get your take on the deals between the Oando and, of course, the Ajib Oil with regards to the 100% acquisition.
Well, though the transaction is still shrouded in secrecy in the sense that we are yet to know the details of some of this very transaction conducted by Oando and that of the NNPC. But it's a welcome development in the sense that we are getting to see local players getting improved and, you know, their capacity being improved in the sense that they are now in the downstream and the mainstream sector of the oil and gas sector. So it's a good one that Oando is taking over most of these very assets and some of the joint ventures with Shell, NNPC, Ajib, and the rest. So the local content aspect of it is a welcome development so that we continue to have our oil and gas key players being dominated by local industry. So it's a good one, and we expect good things like this to happen more. Recently also, we witnessed the Elumelu through the Transcorp buying into some of the oil blocks, buying some of the Shell assets, both in the rig and the rest. So these are good developments so that we continue to see local players to dominate our market so that we'll be able to account for ourselves and also share the profit for ourselves. As you said earlier, as a result, that the price of Oando at the floor of Nigerian exchange has gone up more than 25-30%. This money is still hot. people are chasing after that stock because it's a good development.
Indeed, a good development there, like you rightly said. But my concern is that some of these companies that she talk about Shell now, we're talking about Ajib Oil that is being owned by NI before now. We're seeing the Owando coming in for acquisition. Is it not like a divestment by some of these IOCs to leave our economy? Is it a good one?
Yes, also we should be worried and concerned that most of these international oil companies are packing up and leaving the shores of Nigeria. It should be a concern and worry to us. But the most important thing is, are they packing up and shutting down their facilities entirely? No. Indigenous companies like Owando, like Transcorp, a good number of them are buying up these very assets. So that should be a good development for us. But them leaving the shores of Nigeria is not a good development. We should be concerned and know why most of these international oil organizations are leaving the shores of Nigeria and moving to some other African country. Yes, they claim there is a lot of hostility among the host companies. There is a lot of corrupt activities ongoing and all the rest. These are the things that these administrations should look into and see how far it can build that confidence, because we need them. We need their foreign direct investment. We need those very funds. We need those very forests they comes with. So in as much as it's an indigenous companies that are taking over this asset, we should also encourage more of such international organizations coming to play in our local market. It makes it more healthier. It makes it more beneficiary to us. So it's a worrisome situation, and it's also a good development that is a local industries that are taking over.
Mixed feeling there, or mixed reaction there from you, Mr. Steve. Apart from Owando and of course, Ajib and Shell, GlaxoSmithKline, Unilever Nigeria PLC, the companies that have operated here for so long have also indicated their interest to sell their investment and also move out of Nigeria. This is something like, just like you said, we should be happy, and of course at the same time we should also be worried.
Of the Unilever, what we have in hand now, the latest is the PZ trying to sell off all or buy up all the existing shareholders or the local shareholders, meaning also they really want to register from being a quoted company at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, which also implies that they are diversifying their investment or they are packing up from Nigeria using third-party transactions, just like the GlaxoSmith did recently. Not that their product will not be found in the shelves in their chemists. It's still a pharmaceutical company that will sell their product in Nigeria. But the question is that they are not directly dealing with Nigeria. Now they are using third-party arrangements. So that's the implication. It will make their cost, it will make their product be more costly, because when you have a third party, it means additional cost, additional service has been rendered. So it should be, like I said, a concern for us as a nation, and it's also a good development because there is no vacuum. Nigerians are feeling those very vacuum that ought to have created if actually they totally pack up. Yes, we should be concerned that we need most of these very multinational, multilateral organizations playing right here in Nigeria, because we need to trap those forests. We need to keep those money flowing into Nigeria.
And also create jobs as well. Mr. Steve, let's look at the president 100 days in office now. How will you describe the 100 days of Mr. President in office? So much has happened. Nigerians are already feeling the impact.
My brother, it also comes with a mixed feeling. Nigerians, few Nigerians are happy, few are concerned, few are worried. A good number of them that are worried are those who are, feeling the pains of most of the policy decisions of the government. And you remember, and you are very much aware that couple of some of the economic fiscal decisions that have been taken by this very administration seems to have some level of hardship it have created for Nigerians, just like we are all having the conversation on daily basis. The cost of doing business, the cost of moving around, transportation, even the cost of production itself have gone up, and that has brought a lot of hardship on Nigerians. Nigerians can hardly afford the items that they used to buy earlier before now. Families are now going 010 meal plat or pattern, or 001, or some are even doing 100, and what you may call it. So these are the current economic situation. Most of these very decisions of the government have resulted in Nigeria. So it comes with, like I said, mixed reactions. It's a sort of hope. Like they said, they are coming with under a hope mantra. We believe that they will do some other things right, so that Nigerians can have some relief. On the regards to palliative, they promise the palliative should go down to the people. Like I said earlier, the palliative should not be focused on cash. The palliative should rather be palliative that is related to input palliative, providing farming tools for farmers, providing transportation, mass transportation buses for Nigerians, so that it would ease their pains of moving from one place to the other, providing palliative like electricity to businesses, so that Nigerians will not suffer to generate electricity to power their businesses. These are the palliative Nigerian deserves. So 100 days in office comes, like I said, with mixed feelings, but a lot of pains to Nigeria. We hope, like they said, they are running with hope mantra. We hope that in days to come, that things will be better for Nigerians.
Mr. Steve, during the campaign, some of the candidates did told the Nigerians that they were going to take some key decision. And when the president came in, at the time he was sworn in at the Eagle Square, he did started with that key economic decision. He has been talking to Nigerians that in due time, things is going to get better. So in a way, has your hope be renewed?
Is my hope renewed? Well, in absence of hope, life is hopeless. And if you cannot give yourself hope, I think one thing that drives every individual or drives every idea and ideology is hope. Hope for survival, hope for betterment of tomorrow. Even our religious bodies cannot do without inspiring that very atom of hope in us. That's why they will tell you life after death, hope for life after death. They inspire us with hope. So it's good enough that we have an administration that believes in hope mantra and they are going with hope. But the point is, are we seeing those concrete economic decisions that will actually bring the hope they promise? Like you said, a couple of them promised to remove fuel subsidy. Is it in this manner? Should they have done the right things, which are the structural and fundamental things that they ought to have done before the removal of this fuel subsidy? No, this government failed to have done that. So the question still remains, in the next months to come, what are their plans to cushion the very much effect of these very sufferings Nigerians are passing through? What are their plans to redirect funds to areas that need the critical economic sectors that need these funds? What are their plans to reduce the cost of governance? What are their plans to make sure that Nigerians will not go home or go to bed hungry? These are the concerns of Nigeria, and that is where the hope lies.
The concerns of Nigeria there, like you rightly laid there. You talk about key issues that has been, key decision that has been taken. We talk about subsidy, the FX market, the tax reform is in place, tax reform committee is already in place, and of course, they were given just 3 months at least to show signs of recovery of things to come. Of course, there is also the president also declaring emergency on food security. All these things were actually done before the cabinet was formed, and now we have cabinet in place. Many of them are barely 2 weeks, of course, in office, and they have, in a way, I mean, hit the ground running, making some impact there, making some pronouncements in their various ministries. Don't you think, in a way, this government has indeed is actually ready to serve Nigeria and to make life meaningful for Nigeria? What we Nigeria just need maybe is patience. Don't you think so, Mr. Steve?
If I said they are not ready, maybe a good number of people who believe in the ideology will not agree with me. I'm very sure they are ready and they want to do something. But the question is, do they have that very empathy? Do they have the empathy of the sufferings of Nigerians at hand? Or do they feel that the policies and programs they have in place is suitable to the economic dynamics of Nigeria? These are where the challenges are. It seems like they are not in touch with the sufferings of Nigerians. Would they do things that will actually look different or alleviate the sufferings of Nigeria? That is where the expectations of Nigeria lies on. Nigerians expect a lot from them beyond these very key economic decisions that you read that they've taken in the last couple of weeks. Nigerians influenced by the economy and Nigeria in form of a better living. If you can hear me.
Hello, Mr. Steve. Go ahead. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Yes. So Nigerians need to see these very policies of government in form of a better standard of living, in form of lower cost of living, in form of a good environment for businesses to strive. The government needs to do a lot around incentivizing the system. Some incentives needs to be done, given to the system or the economy so that businesses will strive. Most importantly, the governments to chase this issue of power generation. There is no better policy that will serve the economy of Nigeria than to revamp our electricity supply to businesses. That will lower the cost of doing business. That will lower the cost of transportation. It will also lower a lot of costs in the input and output too. So these are the things Nigerians expect from the government. Improve electricity supply is very key, and be efficient in the spending of the mega resources available with you. A lot of frivolosities, a lot of over invoicing, a lot of padding, a lot of duplication of budget item. These are the areas this government needs, this very administration. Nigerians need this government to tackle. Those are the expectations of Nigeria. So far, so rough. I won't say it's good. 100 days in office is so rough for Nigerians. Let's be realistic. If you feel the pains of Nigerians are passing through a lot. Like I said, the best that the government can do for Nigeria is to make sure that Nigerians do not go to bed hungry. Nigerians will go to bed with at least with 1 meal a day. These are the expectations of Nigerians, and this is what the government will serve the purpose of making sure that Nigerians have food and cost of living is lowered.
Mr. Steve, talking about concern of government, we have seen the president speaking to Nigeria passionately on many occasions. To be fair to him, he has always come out to say that he indeed understands the pains that Nigerians are going through, but the key decisions that are being taken is for the interest of Nigeria. Don't you think we have a president that for the very first time that is so passionate in talking to Nigerians?
You know, there are two differences. You can say things and they can sound rhetorics. You can decide to read good items or read good, raise good concerns on issues like, I understand what your pains are, I understand how you feel. It sounds so beautiful to the ears of Nigerians. But the question is, what are you doing, Your Excellency, to alleviate the sufferings of Nigeria? That should be what should bother him. What am I doing as a leader to reduce the sufferings of Nigeria, not understanding their pains?
Hello,
you can say it over and over 1,000,000 times, and Nigerians are still being impoverished.
Exactly.
That is the concern. Like Nigerians are now suffering to buy petroleum products at 617 naira. What is it doing to make sure that 10, 20, 40, 50% of our local consumption is being refined locally? That should be the stories that Nigeria resonate with the ears of Nigerians, not the issue of the rhetorics. I hear you. I can feel your pain. What are you doing to alleviate the pains of Nigeria? That is what should better the lives of Nigerians.
Mr. Steve, time is not on our side, but the government has rolled out palliatives through the state government. Money has been given. Rice, trucks of rice have also been sent to state to be distributed to vulnerable Nigerians as well. Of course, we also have the promise that one of the refinery, Port Harcourt refinery, is going through rehabilitation and it will get to work by December. These are some of the promises that the president has made. Don't you think so? In 30 seconds.
Like I said, it sounds like rhetoric because government after government have made such promises, but we need him to put actions to most of the things he said. Let the refinery get working. Let Nigerians start buying food items like the yam, the grains, the rice. Let it become affordable for Nigerians. These are the practical things Nigerians need to know.
Right.
Let the farmer herders, Nigerians running away from their ancestral home because people are coming, bandits killing them. Let farmers return to their ancestral home and start cultivating these very crops. These are the things that resonate with Nigeria, not the rhetorics that we've continued to hear government after government. We will do this for you, we will do that for you. In practical times, we need to start seeing. We need to start seeing us going to filling station to buy refined product in Nigeria. We need to start going to the market, buying a tuber of yam at 200, 300 naira. These are the things Nigerians want to start saying. And we hope we do that in soonest.
All right. Mr. Steve, an economist, I must thank you for your contribution on the program this morning. Indeed, the president still have at least 4 years to do some of these things that you have really mentioned there. I must thank you and have a nice day today.
Thank you so much, and let him make good use of the 4 years.
Absolutely, we hope so too, and of course Nigeria also cannot wait to see dividends of good governance. It's on that note that we wrap up the show today. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Yusuf Akogun.